Good afternoon. My name is Professor Pafundi here, and this is my 8th year at St. Rose, and I teach Italian at this time, but when I first started in the year 2010, I was teaching French at that time. Undergraduate, I received a BA from Siena College, and then I moved on to Middlebury College for they're noted for their language school there, and I did master work in both French and Italian there. I did doctoral work at the University of Massachusetts in Amherst, Massachusetts. My major in undergrad, my major was French with a minor in English and history, and then the Italian came on later. It was important, I think, to remember at that time, at least here in, let's say, in New York State and New England, French was the major language, and Spanish was number 2. And then Italian became popular, I would say, in the 1980s. So there was an opening there. So going back to there's a connection there. It was thanks to UMass Amherst that I met my wife. She had come from France there. She was studying English. Had she had the wisdom to stay back in France and not make a bad choice in marrying me, I think she would have. You know, she has a doctorate in France in English. She would be teaching at the college level. You know, English back there. So she came to study at UMass Amherst. We met, and the rest is history. We have 2 sons. That's, as I mentioned in my classes at the beginning of this semester, my older boy, the reason he works for Accenture in New Jersey, and soon he's going to be transferring to the Manhattan office of that company. And it was because of his French, because at home we speak, French is the main language we use at home. The Italian I use for moments when I'm mad at, for a sauce not coming out right, or so on and so forth. Like that. So I have 2 boys. They both attended the university at the State University at Geneseo. The older boy was a foreign relations major, and the younger boy is a math major looking to be an actuary. It was mostly work. It was kind of a stressful going back at that time. The period I was in undergraduate now. It was a bit stressful because at that time there was the Vietnam War going on, and you know, an ability to finish the semester because, you know, people were, you know, you would have been taken into the Army. So it was a bit stressful. But having said that, despite the period, the historic period that I went to, you know, undergrad, it was good. It was fun. Once I realized, because I originally started out to be a lawyer, and I originally felt I was going to study law, wind up at Albany Law School, so on and so forth. But one day I just decided that's not what I wanted to do, and then I wound up, and it's taken me here to St. Rose, which has been a, you know, very pleasant, you know, twist and turn in my professional career, you know. So it's a good. At the time, first of all, I love the language. It's a very beautiful language. But at the time, if you took Italian, there wasn't the possibility of work. So if you wanted to be a foreign language teacher, it was pretty much French, Spanish, or Latin. Latin was also back in maybe in your parents' day or maybe your grandparents' day. Latin was very popular, and a lot of schools required it, you know, in the beginning there. So it was also a very practical thing. Other than the beauty, the aesthetic pleasingness of the language, I think. I just felt, you know, I feel comfortable around people. I think I'm kind of sociable. I just like working with people, and it's the challenge of, especially in the field of foreign language. As I explained to a student one time, it's almost like you see students come into you know, my classroom setting, and they come in very often. Most of them have had no experience, whether it be in Italian or French, and all of a sudden you see these people go from a non-speaker of a language to a speaker of a language, and it's kind of neat. It's almost like the Pygmalion type of thing there that goes out there. And it's really gratifying. It's a lot of fun to see that. No, I was you know, I've done other things. I've worked at the Saratoga racetrack, but I wouldn't call that a career. That was just a summer thing to help pay for my son's tuition at SUNY Geneseo. It was a bit of an accident. They first offered the job to my wife. At that time, I had just, I was coming off, a good part of my career also has been in high school too. And I had just retired from my high school. I was in the local high school in Troy. And my wife could not do the job. It was in French at the time in 2010. And I said, wait a minute, I can do that. And it was a bit of an accident, and it's turned out to be a really very pleasant experience here at the College of St. Rose. The beginning classes are always, for the reasons I gave, to see all of a sudden students come in, because it becomes more and more interesting, because we have had in the past, in Italian, we have had level 203 and 204, and I would say all levels. I appreciate all levels, but to see all of a sudden people come in, and they come in with no language experience in that particular language, and they go from basically nothing to something. They becomes, they start to speak a language. It's neat to see. I would say right now everything, everything is going fine. I don't know. I don't think I'm very interesting. People very oftentimes ask me and say, "What do you do as a career?" And I say, "Well, I'm a teacher of verbs," as if this were I was born in this country, but my parents are from Italy, and that made a big difference. They were very much still attached to their culture. We remained in contact with our family and friends back in Italy, and so I think also too the family experience was also I could speak other languages, and it's just something you want to pass on maybe to other students and see them because there are many people that, like yourself, that want to learn a language, so it's kind of neat to do that type of thing. Well, thanks. I would like to thank everyone. I'd like to thank the students. It's wonderful working here. I find them very interesting and very hardworking. I'd like to thank my colleagues in the Foreign Language Department for giving me this opportunity, because it's been extremely rewarding, since day one. I am Professor Pafundi, and this is Meet Your Professor.